Hi everyone and welcome to the latest IronQuest feedback call. My name is Sarah Bartlett and I'm the leader of the IronQuest project. For those that don't know, IronQuest is a monthly data visualization project which centers around the IronViz feeder competition. Every month we take a different topic and we visualize it by collecting our own data and putting together our own visualizations. People can use any visualization tool of their choice for this project, but the majority of people do use Tableau since this project is centered around IronViz, which is a Tableau competition. When putting together our visualizations, we try and focus on the IronViz scoring criteria. So that's design, storytelling, and analysis. This month, we were visualizing the topic of travel and vacations. So we decided to look at data related to perhaps places we've traveled to in the past or places we'd like to go in the future. On this call, in total, we have 14 visualizations to review, and we'll be going through those in alphabetical order. This month, I'm really fortunate to be joined by two amazing co-hosts, Brian Moore and Jacqui Moore. Just to give you a little bit of background on both of them, Brian is a senior data visualization and analytics consultant, a Tableau public ambassador, and he's also a co-leader of the Boston Tableau user group and a co-leader of the SDG Viz project. So the SDG Viz project stands for Social Development Goals, and it's based on the social development goals provided by the UN. For that project, every month they pick a different goal and then they choose to visualize that. Brian loves to help others leverage the power of Tableau and get the most out of their data, both as a consultant and through his work in the community. Meanwhile, Jacqui is a data visualization specialist with 10 years of experience in data analytics and a background as a data viz analytics consultant, a COE leader, and a BI analyst. Jacqui loves creating data solutions that are enjoyable and easy to use and supporting others in their data viz and Tableau journey. Jacqui also co-leads the Boston Tableau user group, and she's also a co-leader of the SDG Viz project with Brian and also the Node. And in 2020, Jacqui was named a Tableau ambassador and also a Tableau public featured author. All right, hi Jacqui, hi Brian. I'm super happy you're here today.
Hi, Sarah. Happy to be here.
Yes, it's great to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for partnering with me on this. I thought, travel and vacations just came at the perfect time as everything was opening up and people were starting to go on like holidays again. I think people got excited with the topic as well. You could see that kind of excitement coming through in some of the visits that we had.
Yeah, I've been
Absolutely.
living vicariously through these visits. We haven't been able to travel in a while.
Yeah, absolutely. It's given me loads of inspiration to actually start going places now we can. But
Yeah.
yeah, and I heard today that they're actually going to lift the travel ban for the UK going to the US in November. Um, so maybe just in time for TC, who knows? A little bit late though. Anyway, let's get started. So we've got around about, let me just check how many. So we've got 14 visits to go through today. We're going to go through in alphabetical order. So we'll start off with Dennis. And let me share my screen. So Dennis did a viz of the Thomas Guide, which is like it has a really nice retro feel. So hopefully you can see my screen, and then we go in.
Yep.
Great. Yeah, so I really love the style of this viz, the way that he's designed it, like the book that it's tribute to almost.
Yeah, the
Yeah, I
book
love the
style
book
was
look.
really cool. It really felt like you were flipping through
Yeah.
all this.
Are you familiar
I
with the?
enjoyed this timeline of it as well. I wasn't familiar with the Thomas Guide before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
no,
looks
me
like it's
neither.
never been released in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was really nice to see the history, and I guess it's kind of sad, that with like sat nav and everything coming in, that the book kind of almost phased out. I think it's still in circulation, but I guess not many people use paper maps anymore, right?
hmm
But yeah, I love
Yeah,
seeing the
neat.
history. But so go ahead.
I was just going to say the last page of this thing is incredible. This interactive grid. I really want to find out more about how he did this.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
seriously
clicking through
impressive.
it, this is really a cool way to explore the area.
It works so well as well. And I think I saw on Twitter, somebody asked, what was the original like? Did it have this kind of concept? And it was what he's designed in Tableau is so similar to what the original looked like. It's incredible that he was able to pull this off, really.
Yeah, so in the
Yeah.
original, it's like each of these pieces of the grid was like a different page in the book, right? But here you can just click on it to flip to that page.
Yeah,
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 it's
Yeah.
really cool.
This was well done.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if I would change anything about this. I think the layout and everything, he's just nailed it, right?
Yeah, I didn't have any feedback for this one other than it's awesome.
What you, Jacqui?
Yeah, I didn't really have anything that I would change about it. I think the only thing that it made me curious about is it kind of gets into that it started diminishing after GPSs. I'm curious if there's anywhere where we could see the number of printings or sales, or it's kind of complete that story. I don't know if that data exists, but yeah, I wouldn't change anything about it
Yeah,
as
that
far as the
data.
design.
Yeah, the data would be great, but it's the kind of thing I guess it would quite hard to find,
Hmm.
right? But no, great work, Dennis. I think this is awesome. Um, it's on the topic as well. Like, I can't fault it. All right, I'll move on to the next one. So we have Viz by Jonny, and it's on Hostel World Japan. And just bring it over to my screen. Hang on, I'm just going to change my screen share because I'm not showing the right thing. Okay, so this one is looking at hostels in Japan, right?
Hmm.
I love the design.
Yeah, I thought the color scheme and the design were beautiful. And then I think if you click on one of the locations, does it brings you to another view.
I think click from the map,
I'll
maybe.
click on the map here. I should follow the
Yeah.
instructions. It does say that at the bottom.
Yeah, so I enjoyed coming in and seeing this like kind of a more zoomed in view. I've got the radar chart of all of the different aspects of it. Uh, I thought this was nicely put together.
Yeah, the radar chart's an interesting choice, but I think it works here. Like, so we're comparing, or I guess we're just looking at the average versus each individual hostel,
Yeah, so it's the
right?
selected one versus like the 10 closest. So up at the top, there's a little slider, so you can change
Right.
like how
Okay.
many. Yeah, so this Viz actually has like a ton of interactivity. I spent a while on it because when you first come in, it's beautifully designed. You don't really realize how much there is to it, and a lot of the like dashboard actions and instructions and things just blend so perfectly with the dashboard. So it's really great for the aesthetic. It would be nice if there was a way to kind of highlight the interactivity a little bit more, make it more visible on what sections are interactive, and because I mean there are instructions throughout, but again
Yeah,
they blend really nicely with the dashboard. It's a little hard to see them.
I
Yeah.
had a similar thought as far as like I would probably have it where you come in to clicking on where the readme is open when you first arrive at the dashboard. So all of that interactivity is really right there. And then I had to go back to it a couple of times just to see the legend, to see what the icons meant again. Um, so that was kind of my main piece of feedback, was putting that either front and center when you come in, or the legend just right on the dashboard.
Yeah. No, I agree. It would be nice to take that kind of legend with the icons out, so it's there all the time. I would say that this this instruction pane looks fantastic. I love the font and
Mhm.
everything. And he added a note to one of the other like readmes, which said that Tableau Public was playing up and wasn't displaying his font correctly. And interestingly, you can see in the background here what the font should look like, just about. But then when we come out of this, you can see that Tableau Public, being Tableau Public, goes back to kind of the Tableau Public fonts.
Oh, interesting. It displayed with that
Uh,
font on my computer.
Oh,
The
really?
right one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's strange. I've done these before, and I've been on with different people, and they're seeing something totally different to what I'm seeing. Um, so it goes to show you never know what it's going to look like. You should always test it with other people.
Yeah. I think the only other thing that I noticed too was this star rating parameter. I had to play with that a bit to really see what that was doing. And I think what it's doing is adjusting what your definition of like an excellent hostel is.
yeah, so it'll change the icons in the map if you move it.
Yeah.
So anything at that rating or above is like the clover.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then everything else is the flag, right?
Mhm.
And then
Hmm.
you have the pink one, which is that the top rated, right?
I think
Or
that was the one that he visited.
If that's the one he visited,
oh,
yeah.
okay, I see. Gotcha. I mean, they've all got really high scores.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's impressive. And then you can change the city, obviously, as well. Yeah, this is really nice.
Hmm.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
All right, let's move on. So the next one we have is by Marc Reid. Kind of similar. It's I think this one that by Jonny was inspired by Mark's original kind of map overlay viz, right? If you remember that one. It wasn't a map, sorry, it
Mhm.
was a viz overlay, not a map. We had the instructions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this one kind of does what Jacqui was talking about in the last one, where you come in, the instructions are shown, so you see
Yeah.
that interactivity before you start interacting with it. Yeah, this viz is really cool. I have to download it and see how he did some of the things in here. Um, Probably my favorite part of this is like the ability to set up the multiple trips and then compare them, so you can do one by car and one by plane, and then compare the emissions between the two, which is really cool.
Yeah. It's really impressive. I spent a lot of time playing with this when he first released it. Just
Mhm.
testing out like random destinations.
Yeah, it really feels like an application. Like it's a very cool way to look at this and the yeah be able to compare the two. This was really well done.
Yeah, I was just gonna say one thing that might be nice to add is in like the comparison at the end, if there would be a way to add like a time comparison.
Hmm.
Mm,
Obviously, it wouldn't be perfect, but maybe just use like the average speed and distance to come up with a ballpark for the time. Because obviously, riding my bike to California would be, a lot, result in a lot less emissions, but it would also take 3 months compared to 6 hours.
yeah.
So adding some kind of time element would be a nice addition.
I really appreciate with this viz that everything's like clearly labeled. You can see how to interact with it. So you've got the click to zoom map, select method of travel, and you can go back, start over. There's no way of getting stuck. Which often I see with some vizzes that you go through them and you get to a point where you can't return and you kind of have to come out and start again. But with this, it's everything's very clear how you navigate around.
Hmm.
Yeah, like Jackie said, it feels a lot more like an app than
Yeah,
a Tableau dashboard, and I appreciate the undo option, the go back.
yeah. No, it's great. I don't think I'd change it. It just feels really well to put together.
Mm.
Well done, Mark. Okay, next one is by Michelle Frayman. And this one is looking at Michelle's adventures abroad. So it was great chatting to Michelle while she was putting this together. Um, and by doing this fish, she had to go back and kind of talk to her parents, talk about where they went when they were younger, and that kind of thing, and pull all that information together.
That's great.
Yeah.
And this viz is awesome. I love the colors, love the custom map. The highlight actions in the upper section are really nice when you hover over.
In the map, or
That if you hover over the icon, yeah, it highlights like the country and the
oh, I
year
see.
and then the charts down
Got you.
below.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And
that's
that the
nice.
timeline at the bottom is really cool. I've seen a lot of timelines in Tableau, but this is one of my favorite. I think this
Yeah,
is
I
awesome.
hadn't really seen this style exactly before. I really liked the timeline too.
yeah, me too. I guess she kind of had to do something like this, right? Because a lot of the trips, they were like, a single trip with multiple kind of visits along the way.
Right.
Right, so they're all
Yeah,
going to fall in the same year.
yeah. I would have.
I,
It would be cool to like. I enjoyed like going through here and seeing like the story of all these little places and the commentary that she did. I think like over like a rating or what I thought about it, or it would have been fun to see too. But yeah, this was really fun to explore.
yeah, obviously, instantly I saw London. I was like, oh gosh, Michelle visited London. Where was she here? What did she do? Um, I mean, she even visited Bracknell, which is like close to where I live, and it's not the kind of place you would come and visit unless you really had to, right?
Yeah, so I
But yeah,
think the only thing that I might change in this viz up at the top, like I really like the green diamonds that she used in the timeline. I would consider maybe using those on the maps and then like toning down the all of the country and city labels and just make those trips like really pop out rather than the little people icon. I think it would give a little more.
Kind
yeah.
of tie them together
Mm.
a little bit
Yeah,
too.
I guess
Yeah.
we're labeled in places that you know aren't really relevant to the story
right.
otherwise.
Hmm. Yeah, so I would maybe just like make the reduce the amount of labels and the labels that you are going to keep. Maybe just make them like a few shades lighter than that background, and then like the nice green diamonds to make like the trips pop out.
Yeah,
I think that would look nice.
I guess she used the little like female icon to represent her, right?
Mm,
So it's like Michelle's
Hmm.
travels.
right.
But I get where you're coming from. I think this is awesome. I like how she did the bars as well with the labels. I think that's, it's not
Yeah.
often you see that kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The bar charts look great.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a
And then,
unit chart combined with a bar chart. I don't know if I've actually seen that before. It's really cool.
yeah, interestingly, she did 12 countries in 12 years, not intentionally. No, great job, Michelle. All right, so next up we have Monica, and this is all about museums in Europe. So no surprise really that the Louvre is at the top. Have you been there?
I have, yes.
Okay, I haven't. I've never been to Paris. I would love, and I live really close. I would
You're
love
so
to go.
close. Yeah.
I feel silly saying that to Americans because a lot of the time when people from America come over here, they're like, "Oh, we have to, bolt on Paris as well." But yeah, I'm here and I've never been. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that the design of this was a cool layout, and I saw that she links to the inspiration, and I can see where she picked up those um, kind of design elements and carried them in here. Um,
And the planner is really cool.
the
I like
planner
this
is
one.
cool.
mm,
Yeah. I think one thought that came to mind as I was going through it is it starts out talking, kind of about the Louvre being the most popular museum or the most visited museum, and then kind of jumps right into the planner. I would kind of add another header section between this kind of like
Yeah.
section highlighting the Louvre and then planning your trip, um, just to kind of divide those up.
Yeah, I agree. Even maybe looking at putting these on separate dashboards, maybe with for some like navigation between them, because this is a nice intro, and then but then the plan is almost like a separate viz in itself.
hmm
Yeah, and I did have a little bit of feedback on the planner. So if you click on like Paris
Yeah.
up to the top there, yeah. So I think you have to click on a city before it starts working, and then scroll down a little bit.
Keep going.
Yeah. No, this is good. So I think she highlights in orange on the bar chart, like basically what museums you can fit in in a specific day based on like the distance, the travel distance between them, the day that you go, and the time that you go.
Hmm.
But in like the bands above it and the map below it, it still lists all of the museums in that area. So like if this was a real recommendation, like if you're really recommending museums to visit, like it would only be recommending this first one since you wouldn't be able to get to the other three. So maybe just using the same logic that she used to highlight in the bar chart to limit the bands as well.
Yeah,
I
I
see.
think
Yeah.
I think that's a good point. Although it is also nice to see. So I think that saying your travel time and your time spent in the museums for the day that's being recommended, that should tie together. But it's also would be nice to continue to be able to see, how long would you need to see if, I'm in Paris and I want to see all four of these museums. Then maybe this tells me how long I have to spend in Paris.
Mm.
Um, so I think
Yeah, so
seeing the total is useful too, but I think, yeah, they need to relate to each other.
maybe even
Um,
making those bands like an orange one and a gray one for each of these. It's like there's four total, but you can only visit one. You would spend 4 hours there, need another 10.5 hours to visit the rest of them.
mhm,
Mm.
yeah.
Maybe you could have it, you mean like another row perhaps to say this is how long it takes overall, and this is what you could fit into a day based on your selections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if the, reviews for the museums or anything like that are available, but to, be able to decide based on, like the reviews, which ones would be worth visiting if you're trying to plan your trip would be, I think, nice to have. But
Yeah. Like a TripAdvisor rating, I'm sure it'll be
yeah,
available.
yeah.
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 Yeah. So it looks like she has some kind of default ranking in there. If you scroll down a little bit, like they're
Uh,
numbered 1 through 4. But if there was some options for those, like most popular, highly rated.
yeah, I think this based on the that's why I scrolled back up to the top. I think it's
Mhm.
based on the most visited, right? So their position in this list.
Mhm.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I mean, it'll be interesting to see that overlaid, like you say, with that feedback to see, just because it's most visited, is it the most enjoyed?
hmm
Right.
Yeah, I love how she's provided this additional context for the storytelling around like Jay-Z and Beyonce film their music video there.
Yeah.
I love that song, by the way. That made me want to go there. I still haven't been there. But yeah, no, it's like a nice little tool. The one thing I would say is just looking at the typeface. Sometimes it's hard to see like where one like sentence ends and another begins. I don't know if that's because like Tableau's like kind of cutting the text off, and um or if it's to do with the spacing. But like, so if we say down here like recommended museum trip for you, we have this kind of line, and it's that the computation includes average time, and then we're going spent in museums. Um, but the kind of a new section below it, it all kinds of seems to kind of merge together. Um,
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that line underneath the time is up. Go to this museum another day. I think moves depending on how many you can visit. So
Right.
up if you change like the what time are you in the first museum? If you change that to like 8, I think you'll see another one highlight. You'll see that move down to like the next row, which is pretty cool.
Mm,
But yeah, maybe just
Okay.
giving that a little bit more space, moving those other
yeah, and
the
I
rest
do.
of the text up.
There's definitely some like custom font rendering issue going on too. I think I downloaded it and looked, and it's so just like knowing the Tableau public supported fonts and trying to stick to those whenever you can.
Yeah.
Just it'll look different for you or me. And
Yeah. I think it goes back to like the one we were looking at before around the like Johnny's viz on the hostel world, right? It's deceiving because you might publish a viz and look at it on your machine and it looks fine. And then
Mhm.
you show it to a friend and like, what have you done with the fonts? Um, why did you design it this way? And it's just because it looks different on their machine. So I don't know what the best way is of testing it yourself. I don't know if you can do like an incognito browser or something, or maybe look at it on your phone. I sometimes do that just to see if it looks any different in terms of the fonts.
Yeah.
Yeah, great work, Monica. So next up we have Naveen, and this is on international tourism. I think this viz caused quite a stir on Twitter as well. So beautiful.
Yeah, this is awesome. I really love these like heavily encoded vizzes.
Yeah,
Very cool. Did a great job with this.
spent
Yeah, this
ages
was
looking at this.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one thing I noticed while I was reading through it is that the when the red is smaller than the white, the red is very hard to see. So I don't know if putting, a sort on like a you know, rank or something to like try to bring that smaller one to the front
Mm.
might help there.
I think I downloaded this one. I think this is using like the map layers.
Oh,
So
okay.
basically, each
Yeah,
piece of this is another layer.
that makes sense. Okay.
I guess the red is in that case is it slightly transparent? So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
see
what?
what you mean, Jacqui. Though, like on the say like especially where we have um, countries where they have like bigger lines coming out, so like Hungary, you can barely see that red. Although it's there, it almost looks like a little pink circle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only feedback I had on this is like I found myself wanting to hover over these to see what the values are. So he does use some text to show what the values are, but it's pretty small and hard to read. So maybe just and because he used shapes, especially on those lines, you can't really hover over a specific
Mm.
line. It's kind of like gets offset because of the size of the shapes. Maybe just like floating another layer, like a with transparent images over the top of this, and putting all the information in a tooltip.
Mm-hmm.
So you could just hover
Mm.
anywhere over this and then see all of the different metrics for that country. Something like that might be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess this is designed more for um, not to be interactive, right? It's more designed for
Yeah.
print,
Yeah,
which is probably
yeah.
why he didn't do that. Because I think
Hmm.
we've got a lot of the labels showing, with the exception of those years, right? The black lines.
Right.
Yeah. It's beautiful work.
Mm. He did a really great job of fitting it into a nice size as well. Um, I always struggle with that kind of thing, like fitting everything on the page.
Mm.
But this seems to work really well. Yeah, great job. All right, the next one is by Rebecca, and this is looking at the journey on the PCT. So I was chatting to Rebecca about this when she was putting this together. I was like, I don't know what the PCT is. I don't know how far this is. I've never been there. So I think this inspired her to add a little bit more context. So I was like the guinea pig who didn't know anything about anything.
I
Uh,
really because I really liked how this text like reading the text and doing this kind of almost like a scrolly telling, right? You have to
Yeah,
read the story and then you get to the bottom and then you scroll back up. Thought that was a really clever way to get the user to the bottom of it first, which is kind of an unusual way to read and interact.
yeah.
So I thought
So
that was a nice way to get you there.
I love what she did. So originally she didn't have the text. It just said scroll down, and this was all like kind of like blank with the map in the background. But I love how she added that text for that context, and then it keeps you, like you say, scrolling down and doing that scrolly telling, where eventually you get to the button at the bottom. I would never have thought to have done it that way.
Yeah, no, that was really clever. Great job.
Yeah. And as you say, Jacqui, you then go back up on the map. I think it really puts into perspective like how far it is.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and
And there's
seeing
lots of
these little context along the way.
yeah, it's like
Yeah,
lots of nice interactivity.
yeah, just interspersed with images and charts. It's really cool. I like this a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, especially like the images, because it kind of puts it into perspective, like, you know, what it actually looks like at this place. And
Hmm.
I like it when people do that. Yeah. I wouldn't change it.
No,
Um,
I think, yeah,
I,
I think it was really nice.
yeah.
Yeah, I like how she switched colors through the states too. That's a nice touch.
Mm, yeah. Fantastic work, Rebecca. Okay, so next we have a viz by Saba. Just bring it up. So here we're looking at their travel and vacations.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it's you know the arced lines are cool here, being able to zoom in and out. I think um, my main piece of feedback on this one was the contrast between the lines is should I would bump up that, lighten the country borders and the country titles and make those lines bigger or lighter, just to make them stand out more from the background map.
Hmm. Yeah. Again, I think similar feedback to what we said to Michelle, but I would reduce the number of labels as well, just
Hmm.
labeling the countries that are part of the story.
Yeah.
This is one of those vizzes that makes me really jealous. I do want to go traveling.
yeah, 20 countries and 56 cities. That's impressive.
That's very
Yeah.
That's
impressive.
And they're all
awesome.
spread out, so they're not like in the same place. They're like everywhere, different continents.
Yeah, I think it would be nice to see a little bit more about the trips too, kind
Mm,
of similar to kind of what
Yeah,
Michelle
kind of
did
what
with
Michelle
some
did. Yeah.
yeah.
like a timeline and some
Places you
personal
saw.
touches.
Yeah.
I'm craving that information. Like, why did they go there? What did they do?
Mhm.
Were they visiting people? Were they just going on holiday? That kind of thing.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah, it's nice, and it reminds me of a viz by I think it's Kimberly Scott. So she did a viz on stamps in my passport, where she did this similar concept, that looking at where she travelled, but she had that additional kind of story to say that we went here because we were doing this, and but a similar concept.
Yeah.
All right, the next one is by Sergiu. It's all about Romania, where he's from. I love it when people focus on their country and um, tell us a little bit about where they're from and why you should come there. It's always really interesting.
Yeah.
yeah, I really like this one. It's
Mhm.
very clean. I love the design.
Yeah, I thought the design was nice on this
Yeah.
one. Um, I kept every time I scrolled up or down, I zoomed and unzoomed the map though. That's the only thing is I
Oh
would
gosh.
turn off the map interact the yeah, that was the only thing. This made me want to learn more about all of these places.
Yeah, that
Um,
was
Yeah.
one thing that came to mind is down in this unit chart at the bottom. I'm not sure if it's possible with the data that he has, but it looks like he pulled it from Google. If there would be a way to hyperlink out to each of these sites, so you could click on something to go to like the Google site page for it, I think
Mm.
would be a nice.
I'm just impressed that there's so many, right?
I know
Mhm,
there's
um, and he's done a great job at visiting a lot of them as well.
mhm.
hmm yeah.
Yeah, maybe if there's not a link, maybe just some kind of categorization of what each of them are as well would be nice.
Yeah.
So maybe you could filter. Yeah, it's really nice. I like the bands as well. Always
Mhm.
love some bands.
hmm
Yeah, you can change the coloring on the map there too, which is nice, based on like the total or the percent that he's visited in each.
Okay, there's the map. Scroll, fix the map. The good thing is that with this map though, is that you haven't got the surrounding countries, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because so often you find people don't know how to do this, like narrowing it down just to a singular country, and you get all the neighboring countries which aren't part of the story. But I like this one that is just Romania.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was a good choice.
yeah, the
Yeah.
map looks great.
All right. Next, we've got a viz by Simon.
So the one thing that I like that really was cool to see here was this kind of drop shadow almost effect with the orange lines and the blue that's like offset a little bit. That kind of is used also in the fonts. That was I thought that was a subtle touch, but it's nice. I thought the color and design of this was
Mm.
well thought out.
Do you mean down here, like on the bar charts?
Yeah,
Yeah, that looks cool. I like how
the,
he's like wrapped you've got the circular map, but he's used the kind of coastline to his advantage for like the design. It
yeah.
looks really well.
Yeah, I really like that map. It came out great.
Yeah.
The highlight action made it a bit hard to kind of navigate between the dots because they almost disappeared. I might suggest doing something different with the highlight action, uh,
Mhm.
but
And
that
then
was
maybe putting a little bit more information about each of the sites in the middle too. Like you have kind of the summaries of when it was established, how many people are in it. Maybe just putting that up in the kind of the section in the top left there that changes when you hover it. Just some
Yeah.
information about that specific site.
I thought these icons at the top were interactive, but they're not doing anything for me
Yeah, yeah, I don't think they do anything.
because my mouse changes. Excuse my huge mouse, by the way. I was doing training last week and I changed my accessibility settings, so I have a big pointer and almost like a Mickey hand as well. I don't know if that's intentional. But like you can see that like my mouse changes when I hover over them, but nothing happens. I'm not sure if it's supposed to.
And then one other just really small suggestion I had for this. So if you hover over the glasses at the very bottom, you can see like the definition of what a, I'm not sure
A
if I'm saying it
kibbutz.
correctly, a kibbutz.
Yeah.
I would put that in the text on the left. That's a pretty important piece of information, and he has a lot of text in the left about them, but not what it is
Mm,
specifically. So I would include that on the left side in some of that text instead of kind of making the person look for it.
yeah,
yeah.
I would agree with that. And then we've got here again, custom font rendering. It looks like is
Yeah.
causing the title to squish, and then I think this block of text is brought in from an image. It looks like 'cause
Mm.
like it got a little fuzzy. So just some custom fonts again,
Yeah.
always causing
Oh,
trouble.
yeah. One day we won't have this problem anymore. But no, great job, Simon. I like the consistent like color palette as well. Like throughout we've got this orange and blue.
Yeah,
Mm.
I like how the bar charts at the bottom kind of frame the map too. It's
Mm.
that the whole layout is really nice.
Yeah,
It reminds me of the skyline. I don't know if
Mhm.
that's
does, yeah.
intentional. And I don't know if you notice there's like a very subtle glow around this donut chart.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a nice little touch. All right, so we have another viz by another Simon. So this is Simon Rowe. And this is all about his trip to the US. And this made me really jealous.
This made me really jealous. I've lived in the
You
U.S. my
lived there,
entire life, and he's seen way more of the country than I
put you to shame.
have. Yeah, I
It's
absolutely love this viz. This might be my favorite of the group. I think he did
hmm
an amazing job on here.
yeah. I mean, first of all, it was like the trip of a lifetime, right? So
Mm,
was it like 3 months you spent
yeah,
there?
Yeah, that's a lot of travel. And I love the viz choices and the, narrative of it.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that I would change, and this is probably more a design, like an aesthetic thing, but I thought that the contrast could be amped up just a little bit.
hmm
At least on my monitor, it was kind of hard to read everything. Um, but it does make the trip stand out more in the pieces that he wants to highlight. So it's probably a little bit of a personal choice, but
Yeah,
I just
there's
thought,
some really small text, and I agree, Jackie. There's some of it, the contrast makes it a little bit difficult to read. I know that if Michelle Frayman was here now, she would say something about it because that's a hot topic of hers. Um, but yeah, but I guess he's it's that balance, right? I think he's tried to fit a lot in here without compromising on the design.
mm-hmm, yeah.
I,
Yeah,
I
and I
just
thought the chart choices were all really nice in the layout, and
Mm,
this was,
I love
um,
just how much information is packed into this too. Like just how much there is about the trips, what hotels they stayed in, how long, the highlights of the trip. There's a lot of
yeah,
just a ton to this. It's
I was
he did a good
impressed
job.
how much data he still had about the trip, right? All the little details, how long they stayed in places, where they stayed,
Mhm.
um, all that kind of stuff.
yeah, I barely remember that about any of my trips.
Yeah, it puts me to shame. Um, eh, and I guess I think we forget how big the US is. Um, it's only when I go there and it takes forever to get to get places, and to think that he did all this is really impressive.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask him for some recommendations on where I should visit in the U.S.
You don't need to. That's why you got this quiz. Did he come anywhere near where you live in
Yeah, it
Boston?
looks like, is that
Boston,
Boston?
well,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Boston, from North Conway to Boston. Yeah,
Yeah, and he spent some time in Colorado. That's where Jackie's from originally.
Oh, are you Jacqui? I didn't know that.
yeah,
It's over here somewhere, right? All the way
Down
over.
to the right a little bit, the square one to the
yeah.
right.
Right, more.
Right.
One more, right there.
Okay. Okay, I didn't realize it was that far over. Whenever I think of Colorado, I think of South Park and
Yeah.
Aspen.
Yep.
Yeah, but no, great job, Simon. It's awesome, Viz.
Mhm.
All right, so next up we have Susan Wiggins. So sticking with the US, we're looking at national parks.
Yeah, so this one, I think the first thing was kind of at the top. I would put a little bit of text, kind of talking about what the viz is about, and then kind of telling me what these bands mean.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Um,
you don't really know what they're measuring until you hover over them.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So I would make that a little bit more clear. Um, but I thought that the timeline is a cool way to see how the national parks came about.
Hmm.
Yeah, I really like the timeline. It might be cool to do like a little s- summary too, maybe just like counts by decade or something, just a bar chart to summarize that. But I do really like the timeline.
Yeah.
Um, Also, it might be a nice touch adding some interactivity between the map and the timeline. So if you hover over one of them, it'll kind of highlight it in the other.
Yeah, that would be
Hmm.
nice. I think I don't there's definitely some of the the Alaska effect going on, so you might want to think about putting Alaska, Puerto Rico, Hawaii in a separate viz next to it, kind of in a container, just to so that the continental U.S. Isn't diminished by Alaska being so far away. And
Mhm.
Yeah. It'd
Yeah.
be nice if we had like a highlight action on the map, just so you could, if you're looking for a specific national park, you could just type in the name and it would kind of zoom in there or highlight that park for
yeah,
you.
so I think I had similar thoughts too. I think that this bar chart below it is showing I think it's the same information as what we're seeing in the map. So I think if you use
Mm,
that along with the highlight action and move it up to the next to the map, you could have some nice interactivity to kind of see, Great Smoky Mountains is the most visited, where is that?
mm,
Yeah, if
yeah.
you could get the timeline, the bar chart, and the map all on the screen at the same time, you could have some nice interactivity between the three of them.
Yeah.
So you could hone
Yeah.
in that. Mm.
I guess you potentially could by putting the map and the bar chart side by side and having that
Right.
the dot plot above, because it doesn't take up much space, depending
Mhm.
on how you tackled the map problem with the Alaska effect.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I see what you mean, Jackie. So you can see that the bigger the circle, the more the visitors it had, right?
Yeah. Then
Right.
seeing the number of parks established by each president is is interesting. I think that that would actually be a really nice side by side with the timeline.
Mm,
So instead of this packed bubble chart, to put that up as to show like as a Gantt chart or something, the duration of who was president while all of those were established, then you can see how many were created, but you can also see the timeline and who was president while each of them was created. Those seem really closely related in my mind.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
a
I
really
think
good idea. So
that
kind
would
of
be
breaking up
awesome.
the timeline by president.
Mhm.
Yeah, you'd also see how long each of them were in like office for, right? With that
Mhm.
effect.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that there's still like kind of founding national parks now. Like you've got Donald Trump, um, who established like 4 parks, which I think is baffling to me, right?
Yeah, is there even that much public land left? Yeah.
Yeah, and then just on the tree map, we just want to avoid the red green diverging
Mm,
color on there. Um, Typically, when you're using a diverging color palette, you want some kind of meaningful center point. Where here it's just using like the total acreage, and when you're using red green, there's usually positive and negative connotations with it. Which small park isn't necessarily a bad thing, or a large park necessarily a good thing. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I had the
I would,
same, I think a gradient
yeah,
here.
maybe just a green, like a green
mhm,
going from like dark to light or something.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, initially I didn't. I did wonder why these parks were in red. Like I in my head I associate red with bad, but as you say, Brian, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
Um, right, the Grand Canyon's down there. It's one of
Yep.
the most visited.
Yeah. I think it might be nice too to be able to look at these by like region of the US. Um,
Mhm. Yeah,
so you've got the map, but yeah.
you definitely got just looking at the map, you've definitely got some kind of concentration going on, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Great job, Susan. Next, we have a viz by Takafumi. And this one's called How Long? Back to
Yeah,
Japan again.
I love this viz. The concept is really, really cool, and it's just a beautiful design.
Yeah. Takafumi always has this really nice, clean, minimal like aesthetic. It's nice, and this concept of looking at them by period, um, and just seeing like how starkly travel times changed is
Mhm.
fascinating.
Yeah, I agree. His vizzes always look beautiful. I love the minimal design, and the map looks great. There must be a map box, kind of custom map here.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know if there's really anything I would change about this one. I thought it was nice.
Yeah, I wouldn't change
Yeah,
anything. I think it's great.
it's crazy to think that something used to take 15 days, and you can now do it in about an hour, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Imagine if we told these people that, but the people that were around then. A great job, Takafumi. All right, and the last one we have is by Tina. And this one is looking at fast travel to 1899. I absolutely love Tina's work. I featured her for Tableau FF, I think week before last, because she
Yeah,
keeps coming out with these amazing vizzes. There was one for Iron Viz, there was this one, and they all kind of follow the same theme. I think it's really cool.
yeah, very unique style. It works
Mm,
really well.
It's
Her work is
yeah,
awesome.
it's like even if it didn't say that it was about Red Dead, just like it just looks so much like the game screens and stuff that the carrying through the theme from the game was really well done.
yeah, I know nothing about Red Dead, by the way. Um, so I wouldn't be like, yeah, that's Red Dead, but I can just tell that it's you can just tell it's about like a game or something like that. To me it almost looks like it's out of a magazine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This like really
Mhm.
crisp design.
This interactive map is really cool. If you scroll down a little bit, you can click on any of the cities to see the details below and images from the game.
Yeah, it's got the
Yeah,
clicking seeing the things that you can do in each city, things to watch out for.
I love how she's overlaid the text with these, the pictures of each city. It just looks really nice.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, this was really cool. And so it's to to do this for travel was like I wouldn't have thought of doing like traveling around the game. Um, but traveling around is such a big part of this game is a really cool concept.
Mhm.
And these, just to be clear, these are real places, or are they not? I mean, I don't know, it might be a stupid question. These places really exist, or are they just in the game?
I don't know,
I don't
honestly.
know.
Okay, or they represent. Oh, right, I see. So they've got their own names, but they have there's a real place that they're associated with.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah.
Ansburg is AKA Pittsburgh,
Ah,
California.
that's very cool.
Because I know, again, I know nothing about the game, so I'm
Yeah.
going to ask all the stupid questions.
Yeah, and then I like on the map how you can follow the path of the Vanderlyn gang.
So is this what you would do in the game? Is this like the route that you would take? Is that how it works?
Yeah, I think so. Right.
That's really cool. I like the tooltips as well. Like she's
Yeah,
got the images and the
those look
tooltips. They just
awesome.
look really crisp.
Mm,
Yeah.
It's not easy to do that. Sometimes you can't pull it off. I've tried, especially if you want to include two, you have that annoying like white border around each one. But I think she's used the white border here to her advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't change this. I don't think. It's really,
yeah,
really good.
this is awesome.
I look forward to seeing more work from her. Like every viz she comes up with is really good.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Oh, that was the last viz, unfortunately. I went through those really quickly. We seem to anyway. But they were all fantastic. Like, I was really impressed with the vizzes this round.
Yeah, great job,
Yeah.
everybody. That's probably why I went so quick. There wasn't a lot of lot of feedback to
Can't fault
give.
anything. No,
Great job, everybody.
yeah, great job. And thank you, Jacqui and Brian. I really appreciate you joining me today and being
Yeah.
part of Iron Quest, which I've wanted you two on for such a long time.
Yeah. Thanks
So
for having us.
Yeah,
yeah,
thank you.
thank